Hello, this is John Stokes of Custom Puzzle Craft, and this here is my shop. And what I'm going to do today is cut live a puzzle piece, one of my most sophisticated ones, something I call a same direction whirl curl. It is this particular piece where every single individual curl ends up pointing in the same direction, coming from the common source, coming around like this, where a parallel direction one is one where each of the curls ends up parallel to the central curl. What you see here is a puzzle I made for the 2012 puzzle party held in July, Salem, Massachusetts. Puzzle Cutters Exchange puzzle, where these were puzzles that the cutters made for each other in exchange. I made about 20 of these, each one slightly different because they're all cut freeform, and exchanged those, and then I sold a few, and then I kept the two of them for myself. And these are the two, one assembled and one disassembled. And this here again is the piece I'm going to cut something similar to this. And this is where I'm going to cut it. I use a magnifying glass, and trying to film through the magnifying glass and see at the same time is a major challenge. I've done this repeatedly and have yet to succeed, so I finally got myself some software where I can monitor the camera live and make sure my angle is correct. So what I have to do now is to wire myself up, and then I'll go ahead and do it. Okay, we're about to start. I think I've done about 10 or 11 of these things, and again the videos have not come out well. I've done a lot more experimentation, and I think I finally have got it figured out. So here we go. Normally I'll cut a little intro design just so I have something to wrap up the piece when I'm done. Nothing special, just a Okay, now we're going to go into the main figure, and this will be a counterclockwise curl. And I keep turning in until it starts getting dangerous. When I get to the point that I know I'm going to run into trouble if I keep going in further. Alright, the first curl has to be parallel to the spiral that went in. This little thing here. This one is parallel to it. And each one coming out has to point in the same direction. Going to come out and point in the same direction as this one. I have the computer monitor over on this side now. It makes it a little bit easier to check up to make sure I got the right angle. I have to sit back a lot further than I normally do in order to get my eyes and the camera going through the lens. Alright, continuing on here. I'm using a Hegner scroll saw, an 18-inch throat. I have a 22-inch, but I don't use that one for this kind of work because it's got too much vibration. And I also have a 30-inch Excalibur. I use that for the initial cutting of very large boards. And a 22-inch Hegner through. in between boards. But 99+% of all my puzzle cutting has occurred on this saw. I bought the saw back in the year 2000 and it's still running really well. Alright, 180 all the way in. Essentially, I cue the size off of the size of each preceding. I'm forming a little figure 8 here. I'm doing okay. See, I've got to come all the way in and around. Alright, that's pretty good. The spacing there is a bit larger than I'd like. Too bad. When I cut creative style cutting puzzles, I normally will include one of these in there, particularly if it's a large one. And I tend to cut them early on because I have lost a puzzle due to these, not very often, but I have lost a couple. And I prefer to lose the puzzle in the beginning rather than on the third or fourth day. And this one's going fairly well. Okay, come all the way around. Let's see, another 360 all the way in. Back, a little tight there. Let's see now. When cutting a figure like this, I try to break the board down to a fairly small size. This is about as big as I'd like to have it when cutting a figure like this, because I need to have the hands close into the work to get the kind of precision I need. Let's see, one more. It's pretty tight too, but we're doing okay. I'm going to keep the head back. Acceleration into these curves, and then slow down as I get into the tight curl here. Let's see, I gotta go around. It gets more and more complicated to keep track of just how many of these things I gotta turn and end up pointing the same direction. Tighter than normal, but still well thin. And basically, I'm coming down the center line of the highlighter right here. And once I'm outside, I just maintain the distance. Alright. Looks like I got 2 more. That's a little tighter than I'd like. Just gotta really carefully, just very light pressure on the board, pivoting around the blade, not pushing into the blade too much. Alright, and one more. It's a fairly interesting shape, right? Some people tell me it looks like Japanese waves, but I think the idea is pretty original. This is actually going to be really difficult. Let's see. I've got to come in and around. Really just lightly turn that. The tiniest bit of pressure would ruin it. Let's get in the center. There we go. Sort of coming out. Alright. Coming out. Then there's always the question of how I'm going to close it off. I'm just going to come right in here and aim for this. A little bit off. Alright. I just have a habit of always count how many curls I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 is just seems to be how they all come out. Every now and then I'll get a 13, and every now and then I'm going to get an 11. Over here, these are ones from many previous attempts. These are all different cuts I've made trying to get this project filmed, and I think I finally got it right. This is going to be a wrap here, as they say. This sheet here shows some of the other, all the other 11 shapes that I'd cut in some of the puzzle parlay puzzles. The representative shapes just give me ideas as I continued along, and just check them off as I cut them. That was a couple years ago, or last summer. Anyway, that's it, and thank you for watching, and see you around someday, maybe. Hey, make sure you spread the word about this video. It's been a long, long time coming.